25 years, just with the Square Community Council, with my friend Jason Ferguson, doing various community projects. I am here because my students matter. You matter. I appreciate what the gentleman before me said. Our people in our city that are experiencing this matter. But placing this project here is not the answer. And that is because my students, that park over there, is where most of my students spend their entire summer. They don't have the luxury of traveling. They don't have the luxury of going down to the park, down at the ocean. This is it. They already have a hard life. Most of my students are in crisis, and they have seen enough. And now we are hearing that we want to place more on my children's plates. And I call them my kids because once they've been in my class, they are always my kids. They still call me. I'm scared, like the gentleman said, for my kids. Please do that.
Good evening. My name is Kelly. I may not be as vested in this as most of you. I'm relocated from California. I lived in SoCal. I just moved up here about a year and a half ago. I left Southern California because of our homeless population crisis. We had to turn our community into a gated community because there were so many homeless people showering in our outdoor showers, trespassing, swimming in our swimming pools, going through our dumpsters, breaking into our homes. It is not cheap to live in California. And so I had to leave because I wasn't going to pay those taxes, I wasn't going to pay my mortgage to have somebody else live in my house. So I'm currently up here in Anchorage. I'm the rehab director at Providence Transitional Care, Extended Care, and rehab director at Providence Alaska Medical Center. So I work with the homeless population quite frequently. It's one of our biggest demographics we treat. Most of the diagnoses we see, and this is taken from the NIH for the entire country for the homeless population: drug overdose, alcoholism, unresponsiveness, respiratory illness. These are not things we need at the park that goes right up against the property line for our elementary school. 86% of the kids at that school come from impoverished families. They don't have resources to take them somewhere else to play. Like Chris said, that park is all they have. So the idea of opening a homeless shelter in such a close vicinity of that park is irresponsible of our elected officials.
Pardon me, sir, but you failed to introduce yourself. I expect you may be my mayor.
Not today.
Well, who are you then?
I'm the mayor, Dave Bronson.
Oh. Right. Excuse me. So what is the charter of the municipality of Anchorage? I thought that the whole idea was to provide fewer vendors to the taxpayers, where you would provide infrastructure, roads, power, basic services. Do not feed the bears. Since when am I paying you from both my business and my residents to take care of homeless people? What is it, Wyoming or Montana? They're sending all their homeless to Portland. Why? You ever heard of the blue ticket?
Yeah.
One-way ticket, out of here. You're down your luck, hop on a ride, we'll pay you. Don't come back unless you reimburse us. Now, look, you're not supposed to be given the damn Sullivan. We invested in the Sullivan Arena to make this community better. Give us a place to have some fun. For gatherings, football shows, the music, the venues. You know, the venue is there now. It's the homeless! And they stripped everything's copper out of that building and sold it and trashed it. And now there's the red nose, the red glove, the gold. All right, get it. This is not a popularity contest. This is business, and I expect you to stick to business. No more of this.
My name's Bradley. I work over in Muldoon, but I live over off of Oxford for the last 20 years. Talking about how many people here are concerned about their children, I can tell you what they're going to see, and it really sucks. Being in Muldoon, when they moved all them over to that campground, they just went to hell in a handbasket overnight. Crime, 10, 15, 24. Fights every day on the side of the street. I've witnessed people having sex across the street on the side of Muldoon in the middle of the day. Every single day that I go to work on a nice day, I have to kick them out of front of my building. A lot of times physically, because cops straight up will not show up. Not hours or 2 hours later, not that day. Feces, human feces in my lot every day. I clean it up. I clean up bottles. I clean up syringes. You name it. I walked out of my office one day and went to the shop, and normally I scare these people out of my area. I come out and there was noise in my bathroom. 30 minutes, nobody would come out of it. They finally come out with some homeless lady giggling as she went out the front door. I went in there to find that she had spent the last 30 minutes rubbing her feces over the entire bathroom. That's what your kids are going to see. Not to mention your property being stolen constantly.
Hi there, my name is Rochelle Griffith. I'm an Anchorage resident. I'm also a UFIC from Bristol, Alaska. I would like to begin with a quote. If in the event that homelessness is caused by mental deficiency in our Native communities, then that should establish the priorities of where to get the money. Anchorage Housing, Homelessness, and Neighborhood Development Commission member Jim Crawford said this recently. What Crawford was saying was not racist. He was trying to identify the problem and find a real solution. What is racist is shutting out Alaska Native voices and not allowing them a seat at the table to come up with real solutions. For a homeless population that is 70% Alaska Native. What is racist is allowing Alaskan Natives and Alaskans to die on the streets while elected leadership sit back, collect taxpayer money, and keep the homeless issue raging. Shelters are not a solution. Taking a recreation center away from the community is not a solution. Substance abuse treatment centers should be available to treat the root cause of homelessness and will help people chronically addicted to help. Just as vagrants is not the solution, it perpetuates the problem. It is called enablement, and enablement kills the addicted homeless. Let's stop killing the addicted homeless.
Hi, my name is Tiara. I am so grateful that all of you guys showed up here tonight. So quickly, I know I'm going to run out of time, but if everybody just takes a look at everybody here tonight, like everybody take a look at your neighbors and friends, like this is a big deal. We have wives and kids and families and dinners to cook and so many things to do, so thanks for taking the time. Thank you, Mayor Bronson, for having us here. Thank you, Mr. Santo and his wife, I hope I said that name right, for stepping foot in our neighborhood, having conversations with all of us neighbors. We appreciate that so much. Mr. Felix, I said you were brave for being here. I don't know where you are, but thanks for coming and listening to our concerns. That is big, so we have to give him that. So I was excited about the clean slate proposal in the beginning. I didn't know if Mr. Rivera was basically trying to give us something to give us some respite from our anxious thoughts, but nonetheless, I was a little excited about it. I feel like although it should have started out this way, having conversations with everybody in the neighborhood, talking with us parents who have children, talking to the schools, talking to the businesses. We know better, and I think the assembly knows better, that that is where it should have started to begin with, conversations, communication. Second, I work with kindergartners all day, and we teach them, you can't keep showing up to the same journey, whatever it is, to the same fight, over and over and over. You show up to this fight, and Mr. Rivera mentioned it, I was thinking it before you said it. Already? Oh my goodness, okay, hold on a second, I've been working so hard. You have to change. If you're failing every time, you have to change to get different results.
I'm Darren Shanahan. I'm working for them myself. I'm the last native, and I appreciate the change that she just spoke of.
Darren, you're gonna have to get closer, or that mic's dying.
Okay, the enablement that was spoken of before. Our city has spent tens of millions of dollars since 2019 in federal, state, and local money, as well as through our nonprofits, upwards of over $100 million or more. And you could have purchased with just $100 million, almost 400 homes. That's not the solution. We're enabling these people. We're taking up community resources from hotels to rec centers. Every time we do that, we're putting this model, we have to change the model. There are a lot of flaws in our homeless approach. We cannot house first. We need to address the root cause first. Rochelle spoke to that. The root cause, many of these are alcohol, drug addiction issues, which leads to many of the mental health issues. These individuals that are addicted aren't able to actually take care of themselves. I'm watching people sleep underneath City Hall in the garage. I'm watching them in my driveway. My vehicle was attacked 3 times in 2022 with blood all around my vehicle. I've called APD probably 25 or 30 times this year and haven't had a response where someone has called me back or come to check if there's an issue. So I am frustrated enough that right now I want to speak out. And I think that if we look at the money, if we look at how much we're spending, the model that we're using, and there's a measurement being used which is incorrect. It's functional zero. Look it up. It's like carbon credits.
Good evening, Mayor. Thanks for hosting this. And Mr. Rivera, I'm amazed that you haven't got the guts to show up here tonight. Just remember that we can vote people in or out. And I guess what I want to say, I'm an engineer. I deal with zoning, and I don't know. I've watched this group of people that try to manage this homeless situation time after time, try to place homeless people in neighborhoods that they don't belong. You wouldn't put an airport here, and you wouldn't put a shopping center here, so why would, there's things that are compatible in terms of use, and putting a low barrier homeless facility here is not what we need. A low barrier homeless facility is a Sullivan Green, so if you want to see what this neighborhood is going to look like, you just need to go over there and sit for 4 or 5 hours and watch. And I will say, Mr. Mayor, that I'm not in favor of your facility on the Elm or tour in the Elmore any more than this would, because there's people around there. But it comes up time and time again, and all the assembly people ignore it, but there's a place called Cliff Road, which I understand has plenty of acreage out by the airport where folks wouldn't disturb other folks. And I do not know why it's turned down time after time. It seems to me that it's pretty obvious. And if we needed to get people in the town to have a transit system, which we do, and we could run folks in and out so they wouldn't be cut off. But somebody else said it's time for a change, and we can't just do the same thing, and that's what we've been doing.
So acreage needs a fast solution, and I honestly feel like the Anchorage Recreational Center is much better than the potential of Centennial Campground occurring again, which is pretty unconscionable. There's no way Tudor and Elmore Center can get built this time for the summer, which I support. And see folks sent out to potentially get attacked by bears again is not a good thing at all. These folks are vulnerable, and the tents just do not provide the security they need. We need to plan for the summer, so be available now. Once the Tudor and Elmore Center is built, then the rec center can be reimagined about housing. So often when locations are identified to support homeless individuals, community comes out mad over the whole thing that gets political. But I would point you to the use of the Red Roof Inn, which I was against, and the Sockeye Inn. Both are huge community pushback moments, and now both are doing really, really well. Most people would have no idea that these locations were being used for housing those who are experiencing homelessness. They are the success stories we need to keep focused on, and these locations for experiencing homelessness have been successful, and so in the Arctic Recreation Center. It is impossible to support those who need help with mental health and drug addiction unless and until they have been giving housing first. The success in the let's get these vulnerable folks housed and safe first. Arctic Recreation Center is already a solution amongst many that will allow for better emergency sheltering so the Tier Elmore Center can be constructed.
I was told that, I think it's Media Folks Day, but when you get up and speak, give your name first. I think that they want to keep track of who's speaking, so if you don't mind, thanks.
Hi, I'm Melissa Sullivan, and I'm speaking for the Windermere neighborhood. Who are the Windermere neighbors? We're Willow Crest Wolverines, nurses, teachers, moms, and dads. And we are frustrated. What are resolutions on the tables, task force proposals? Why are we finding out through an ADN article? We are Windermere neighborhood, and we are frustrated. We have an assembly member who's the executive director of an Anchorage Coalition to End Homelessness, but we're told, no, trust us. She's been vetted by the ethics committee. We're Windermere neighborhood, and we're frustrated. We have a task force selecting facilities based on the criteria no one can tell us. Yet they say this is the best facility for our homeless people in our community. We've asked them numerous times for the assembly to provide us that criteria, and they won't. We're Windermere neighborhood, and we are frustrated. The assembly can't provide one example of a successful integration of a facility that they're proposing, with statistics on property value, community impact, crime rates, and other options that we've asked. Not one example has been provided. We're Windermere neighborhood, and we're frustrated. Clean slate pass, we're good, right? The Arctic Rec Center is off the table. No, we're not. That was just on the table for that night. They changed it. We're being told resolutions hold no weight anyway. Don't trust what they're telling us. They can come back and change a resolution tomorrow. What's a resolution? We're learning as we go. I'm not a politician. I'm Windermere neighborhood, and I'm frustrated.
Hi, my name is Andrew Fisher. These are my 4 kids, Khalil, Harlem, Soraya, and Zai, and they come here to the Arc. They spend their summers here, they're here playing basketball, football, soccer, whatever it is. They love this place. Soraya is looking forward to moving up here in the fall time, and I would like her to be able to come. They love this place, they love the people who work here, they interact here. Khalil used to be homeless. He used to be homeless and had nightmares wandering around the streets around. My wife and I adopted them, simply said, through OCS. And this place is really meant a lot to them.
That was really touching, thank you. I'm Randy Evans, and I work in the neighborhood in an office just off Arctic and International. Thank you, Mayor, for having the courage to do this and listening to the people. Appreciate you. We're all impacted by this homeless issue. My wife's purse was stolen by a homeless woman. Our property taxes have increased yet again. Anchorage, which is our home, has become a trash dump. Driving is hazardous due to the inebriates on the street, often in the street when the walkways are clear. The cost is well over $60,000 per homeless person. I've had enough. We've had enough. This whole new industry that has not produced anything but more and more, yes, it is the homeless industry. By their actions, they apparently want more homeless so they can grow their industry. All this on the backs of the Anchorage taxpayers. We have all seen it on television, the kids sleeping on the street. The city spending over $200,000 to clean up the Sullivan Arena. I agree, there are instances where people are homeless due to circumstances beyond their control, such as loss to income. They need a bridge. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Jason Lazar. I live in the neighborhood across the street, hello to all my neighbors. First of all, I'd like to say, I can't say if I'm for or against this. There's no plan. And so I'm pleading for the assembly, for the mayor, to actually come up with some plans to do something here. This is a notion, if you're an idea, you're speaking out against one potential option and larger plan. I think we should be looking at all potential sites in our communities, all of our communities, to see what would work best for the people that we're trying to help. When I hear people get up here and say, you can't put the homeless shelter in that neighborhood because people live there, what do you think we're trying to help? These are human beings that need a hand, right? And you may not be super pleased about the potential of coming here, but there really is no plan. This could be part of our program that works out. And so I'm asking you, don't fall for anecdotal evidence. Look at the details, look at the statistics, ask for plans, ask the administration of the assembly to do some work. I've been to more town halls on homelessness than our mayor has, and I've yet to see a full-fledged out plan. So please, before you get all up in arrears on this particular place, let's look at the holistically at the city. What can we do to help out our neighbors? Because like it or not, the homeless people in your community are your neighbors as well. They may not be paying a mortgage or rent at that point, but they're human beings that live in your community. We owe it to one another. And I'll just leave it with something that has always guided me since I was a young child, which is that what you do to these my people, you do it to me. And that should be a guiding message for all of us in the community.
My name is Sarah Short, and I've been handing these papers out to most of you. They contain the numbers in the room of the rooms that are in the hotels we currently own and operate. 1307 available rooms, 761 people placed in beds, 844 open beds unused. This is unacceptable. The cost to you taxpayers, $9.3 million for the Golden Lion, and $22.4 million, I do believe, for the other locations. The assembly, without our knowledge, just went down to ask for $25 million for this location without even looking or listening to us. I feel like, as a mother of an addict who is homeless, I have a right to speak loudly, and I am not going to shut up. I am going to encourage each one of you to look at these pieces of paper, get some more, do your research. The cost to you is money. The cost to me is my daughter. And I am not willing to let this assembly stifle my voice or to not provide adequate treatment facilities. We can take this money and take $25 million and put it into the Elmore place where we have already invested $2 million. That is what we want because it is right next to Anchor Coalition to End Homelessness. It should be right there where they can provide services. Furthermore, we need to have it next to Providence and AMC because without these services, your homeless plan to house my daughter is going to allow her to put more drugs in her body and kill her. Please, I am begging you.
Hello, my name is Christine and I live across the street as well. I have over 20 years consolidated of experience dealing with low-income housing, women, battered shelters, and veterans administration. Kicking the can down the road is all this is. We are not going to be helping these people if we're giving them a handout. Fiscally, it is irresponsible. We can't plow our snow. We can't fix our roads. We can't bus our kids to school because Anchorage is spending all of our money on the minority. We are the And we deserve to have a say. If the minority needs help, we need to ask the native corporations for those people. They're getting federal money, which is our taxes as well. They need to step in and partner with this issue, along with the Veterans Administration. We as taxpayers should not be carrying this burden. It is irresponsible for Anchorage to do this and to keep kicking the can down the road.
My name's Jeanette Fox. I live across the way. I've been in this neighborhood for 7+ years. This right now, I'm inspired. So happy, so many neighbors. This kind of gets me apart. I know a lot of homeless people. I'm not saying I'm for this. It's the hardest decision. I've been there also in my teen years where I was homeless. But what is happening here? This is a Band-Aid. I so agree with everybody. This is in Anchorage. This is a mental issue, drug issue, and everything. You cannot solve it by building another housing. The only way you're going to solve it is by helping them, by giving them services. I also coach and manage hockey teams for Anchorage Hockey Association. I was there during COVID. They shut our hockey rink down. I had to coach and manage the teams at the outdoor hockey rink. I don't know how many times I don't care if I was allowed. I carried my husband's gun on me and my husband's and the taser, because I don't know how many times I had to rescue my children, my hockey kids, my teams, because none of our representatives go out and visited the hockey rinks at night when the older kids were there. I had a group of girls who had to carpool together, got flashed by the homeless people who were going to the Sullivan. I had to deal with people having sex up against the thing. Pot coming into the hockey rink. I can't have this for my kids. I've already had to cover my teenage kids, and I mean every single hockey player out there who I ever coach or manage were my kids. I had to do bed and I had to pick up drugs. You want to help them with their services. Not a home, as you can see they have. You have empty rooms already. They're just not going to it because you're not helping them with their services.
Good evening, my name is Dorian Brown, and I'd like to yield my 90 seconds to my husband.
I, Rick Rowland, rise today with recommendations for solutions. I have a college degree and an Alaska Native and honorably discharged Sergeant Veteran of the Marine Corps. My family and I are tax-paying, productive members of this community. As a former member of the Anchorage Mayor's Task Force on Homelessness during the 90s, and as the first manager of the first transitional living facility for single homeless men in Anchorage, I know that many transitional living facilities, not shelters, in Anchorage following this model are successful because the homeless individuals have to participate. Has anyone asked the homeless people where they want to live? Ask them how they will pay for this rec center when their street corner non-tax free money. The homeless population might want to live on the streets. Do they use alcohol and drugs to check out from society? Statistically, 67 to 95% of homeless are on the streets because drugs and alcohol cause them to be there. No twisted words say that substance abuse is caused from homelessness can change the fact that they are homeless and choose to be. Homelessness and addiction often occur simultaneously, so says the American Addiction Center. According to the National Coalition on Homeless, a 2008 survey on substance abuse was the largest cause of homelessness in 68 cities nationwide. Where are they now and where will they be tomorrow? They don't care and no one knows where they'll be located. However, there are solutions, but putting them here in the Arctic Rec Center is not the solution. The Assembly and all Anchorage agencies must be accountable at solving this problem by working together, not just moving them around. The homeless individuals need to be tracked in real time so everyone knows their situation. The homeless need to be accountable for their actions to ensure the money being spent on them is solution-oriented and not wasted. Putting these individuals into another shelter here in the Arctic Rec Center in a low-crime community near a drug-free school zone will buffer them from the reality of having to return to being productive members of the community, creating another rec area, putting this district at a higher risk for crime. Abilene, Texas has a zero homelessness goal. They are mission-oriented to reach functional zero for homeless people. They're working to eliminate veteran homelessness. Our taxes pay for these services to be compartmentalized away from residential areas. If you're going to put something like this here, lower our taxes and change the fencing codes so we can secure our properties. If the Anchorage Assembly does this purchase, then they are clearly not doing their job for the taxpayers as elected officials. They should be tackling crime and reducing homelessness, but then housing the homeless somewhere else thinking it will change. The homelessness needs to stop being homeless by becoming productive members of society, and the Arctic Rec Center needs to remain an Arctic Rec Center and not be a rec center.
My name is Jim, and I'm here to share some numbers. The source of these numbers is an organization ironically called the Anchorage Coalition to End Homelessness. Probably should be called the Anchorage Coalition for Homeless Industrial Complex. So, statewide, the number of homeless, I'm going to give you 2020 and today. 2020, this is in the entire state, 1,949. Today, 2,098. Housing available statewide, 1,781 in 2020, 2,768 in 2022. So numbers didn't go up a whole lot, but housing went way up. So what happened here in Anchorage and what happened in the rest of the state? In Anchorage, homeless, in 2020, 1,058. 2022, 1,494. That's a 50% increase, give or take. Housing inventory in Anchorage, 2020, 904. Today, 1,880. That's a 100% increase. So what happened in the rest of the state? Since the state numbers stayed relatively flat. So in the rest of the state, homeless, 2020, 891. Today, 604. Build it, they will come. Convert this to homeless, we're going to get homeless. Exactly.
My name is Jim Douglas. I manage property here in Anchorage and also nearby. Give up my dad. My name is Jim Douglas. I manage some property here in Anchorage and also some property close by. I heard about this last Friday from a concerned business owner or property manager. They simply said, they don't really want to operate here if this happens. It's hard to blame them. I mean, I deal with day rents and homeless issues from time to time without having a shelter in the middle of Midtown. Most of my manage is here local, and I say this is pretty much the main business hub or the new main business hub of town. You could say downtown. There's a lot of business as well. I feel like the city's done all sorts of planning throughout history, and sure, this is a quick solution. Some plans on the market, you can say we did something simply, but come on. This has to be planned correctly. You guys really feel like this is a solution? I think there's mixed emotions about that also, and mixed thoughts about that. The fact that we all have a voice tonight is thanks to the mayor. And thank you. I've been to plenty of city meetings, and I'm sick of my stomach when I leave. So I don't know where some of these folks come from, but let's focus on the taxpayer that we have the privilege to serve, you know? I have a homeless family member too, who's had mental health issues, didn't take meds for schizophrenia for X amount of years. He's homeless, he's in another realm, you know? Once they're gone, they're gone, and, you know, mental health facilities and mental health providers, that's gonna help. Alcohol and drug programs, that'll help. Like, let's plan stuff. You know, they're zoning for a reason, they're planning for a reason, it's part of their job. So that's all I expect. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stuart Grenier. I live next to Centennial Park, where the campground is that had well over 300 homeless folks living there. Mr. Mayor, I understand we had a situation where lighting parks on fire all over town, and we had to do something. But as a property owner and a caretaker of a house next to the park, I have some things I want to tell you that you might have to experience. But before I say that, I would say that the Northway Mall seems to me the most suitable location for something like is being planned here, because it's far away from any wooded area. What happened in Centennial Park, it's a 48-acre park, and the campground is only a fraction of that. They co-opted the wooded area around the park. And what happens is cars are stopping next to the wooded area, 10 minutes, run in, do a deal, come back, drive off. That also, something you guys need to be aware of, it's called deck surfing. They go on a private property, they get on your back deck, and they sit there until someone tells them to leave. They're accessing your hose, and if you have an outdoor plug-in, they'll access that. And people call the cops, and the cops don't come. Especially if it's like a woman living in a house by herself, they don't leave, they just sit there. And I was going to caretaker property on Valley Avenue. I go there, there's a guy with a battery-operated grinder, you know, the spinning wheel thing. And I say, hey, you're on private property. The owner pays $8,000 a year for that property to do this stuff. And that guy had the nerve to say, no, it's not private. Okay, if you have a homeless shelter anywhere in this town, you have to try to convince the residents of that shelter there's something called private property. Walking around looking in windows, your stress level is going to skyrocket. You need to find a place to put these folks that's not going to destroy our communities.
Good evening. My name is Robert Ferguson. This is my beautiful wife, Rhoda. I've lived in our community here now 40 years. I live right across the street on Shakespeare Circle. Now, I was a little resistant having this community center because I felt, it might be overwhelming for us. But after this constructed, I thought, what a beautiful place. Families come from all over acres to come here and have sporting events. All over the community. They share all kinds of events in this center. Recreation center. Okay? I don't know who put this facility on y'all's radar, but it should be up. As you can see, the folks are here. You're not going to see this homeless shelter. Now, if there was an event happening that might be a disaster or something, where people might need to go to get warm or something, what a beautiful location. But I think we're a little off the wall. We do not want to see this turned into a place where people might resist not wanting to come. I appreciate that we do help the homeless. And there are other avenues out there. I'm sure all of you can hear me without the speaker. I don't need that. My voice will carry. I hope it's carrying right now. I'm sure it would help a lot for some people, but this is not a facility for common people. It's a temporary place. That's what you're involved in, it's a temporary thing. We would like to stop and think, in my opinion. Thank you very much.
My name is Ben Snyder. I'm one of the youth coaches. That worked better. Ted Snyder, one of the youth rugby folks in town. We are on a shoestring budget. We have a lot of underprivileged kids from everywhere. We use the Fox Hollow Dome because we can't afford the big dome. We use this as a practice facility to get more time with the kids. This has been a godsend. I also live on the west end of Chester Creek. Ever since Sullivan Arena, my house has been broken into, and you can't walk the trails because they've taken it over. When they get kicked out, they just came along the trails. This is not a good idea. We've got the Lee Grove Center, someone mentioned, the Elmore area. You cannot be coddling the homeless. You need to be strong with them. Yes, you arrest them for being homeless, but you can't arrest them for all the crime they commit. And we aren't doing that. I know we don't have any municipal prosecutors or municipal judges. Maybe we should put our money there and get them out. Do not destroy this place. As little kid, I lived in Windermere. This has always been a great location. I walk through here. This facility is a godsend for youth sports. And every time the assembly wants to do something like that, the first thing they attack is youth sports. And it just bugs me. Again, think about what we need to do. If you've got to make it uncomfortable, or in the words of Ben Franklin, never let the poor be comfortable to be poor. They need to become productive citizens or not. They're not.
Hi, my name is Bill Durand. I've been a lifelong Alaskan, and I just have one thing to say. That this assembly that's pushing the plan to turn this into a homeless shelter wants to make a whole discussion about housing. They're ignoring the root of the problem, which is illegal drugs. And people are dying out there of Chinese fentanyl and methamphetamine and everything else. Fentanyl in the other drugs, and they need treatment. They don't need a flop house where they can just put all their money into their veins. They need treatment. And this plan does not take into account the lives that are going to be put through the blender so that the assembly can have a little check mark next to their name.
My name is Nina Gorman, and I am a recovered former homeless person. I just paid my turbo tax a week ago. There is hope out there. I didn't bring my badge, but I work for a temporary housing program. A very humble group of mostly indigenous people who saw fit to hire me when a gas station wouldn't even hire me based on my criminal history. They gave me a chance. It's what I needed. So what do we do when somebody comes to us? We look at them, we spend time with them, we let them know that they're valued. They're human beings, and I want to acknowledge the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the Lord Jesus Christ, who humbly came homeless, left his home, born in a manger, and was homeless his whole time on this earth, who were all created in his image. And I thank him today for saving me, for never giving up on me, and putting people in my life to help me to believe in myself. Or I wouldn't be up here with all the shame, all the guilt, the things I did. I was kicked out of Walmart. I was kicked out of Fred Meyer's. I used to rip off the deli and feed the homeless over in Midtown. I used to fly signs. I did all that. I was the one you're talking about on your property you had to worry about. But people didn't give up on me. People kept praying for me. People kept believing in me. So what makes the program that I work for so special? They evaluate you. House of Transformations, a very skeleton crew, stretched beyond what I ever thought I could do or be. They look at you and say, what do you got? Are these only the clothes you have on your back? Do you have your ID? Are you on food stamps? Do you have Medicaid? Do you have any credentials? Have you gone to high school? Have you gone to college? Do you need mental health? Do you need substance abuse treatment? And hats off to PRC, Partners for Reentry, who works with us. That requires their people to come in there and do job searches. Hats off to employers that are willing to employ our people. And hats off, I know you landlords get through a lot. That's one of the hardest. I couldn't get a landlord. I'm not going to mention his name here because he doesn't have a good reputation in this city. You probably already know who I'm talking about without even saying his name. But God bless him. Because landlords wouldn't house me based on my record, but he did. He did. And he's helping house our people. So please, it's true. Don't just put people somewhere where they're going to keep doing the same thing. Give them, they need a model. They need something to follow. And how many of you in here are willing to, in the Bible we call it disciple, other people call it mentoring. How many of you are willing to work with the homeless to help us? How many?
My name is Mark Slack. I live not too far from here. And I'm just curious, how often do we hear the politicians talk about personal responsibility? I don't hear that enough. I think I've heard the mayor speak about it occasionally. I would like to know, there are those that need and those that want. How much of that discussion has been had within the assembly? I have sympathy for those that want. Excuse me, it's opposite. I have sympathy for those that need, but there are far too more that want, stealing from those that need, creating this homeless industry. So that's personal responsibility is the core problem here.
Hi, my name is Amber Murphy King, and I was born and raised in Anchorage. I just have a few points to make. For all of you who are screaming in this direction, I think you should be screaming in that direction. When you have assembly members that are literally profiting off of homelessness, homelessness becomes a business, it doesn't become anything more than that, and they don't care anymore. 30 years ago. The current assembly could care less about our voices when it came to Sullivan Arena, when it came to the Golden Lion, when it came to all the other hotels. Do you know why they suddenly wishy-washy took this, clean slate? Is that what they called it this week? Clean slate? Because there's an election coming. So, 22% of Anchorage votes. 22%, that's it. So this should encourage all of you in this room to vote and vote right, and tell your friends to vote, and make videos to vote, and text your friends to vote. Vote. If you don't vote, this is what happens to our city, is what we've seen happen in the last couple of years. So it's time. Don't just get mad now, get mad always if you love this city. That's it.
Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Give me 2 claps if you guys can hear me. Ready? Okay. Well, my name is Brianna Pilley. Honestly, how I feel about this is I need an answer weekend. Okay, if you're answering here, you guys understand. Especially being Polynesian, there's 20 plus kids that I gotta care for. All right. We usually bring the kids here for the weekend. And what we like to do is teach them life skills training. Just be able to take some time off their parents and, just try to feed our kids, right? I did not hear anybody talk about Zach. Zach, are you in the room? Zach runs this place, right? This is a faith-based place. Hands it up, right? Thank you, Zach. Nobody really talked about Zach with the people that he has over here. He has a community here. He built a community here in just this facility alone. Me and my family were big in sports, and when we found out about this place, we were like, oh, you know what I mean? Like he started something for basketball, and the first thing we did was pray. It barely happens, right? So now it brings me to this. I love the homeless population. I love the homeless community. This is Elizabeth right here. She's the director for Housing Transformation. I was the director before. We love this, right? But there's got to be something else. We've got to stop sticking people into a place, a cold place. This is not a place to live in. We have to restructure what a shelter actually looks like. The reason why I'm shaking right now is because I got the Holy Spirit in me telling me there's something in here that we just gotta break. There is a negative spirit in here that we just gotta break. Another thing that I want to talk about is this. In order to have the people's trust, you have to have inclusion, right? People have to voice things out, okay? To have a session like this just be thrown out there because we weren't given the opportunity before, that's a problem, right? That's a problem. And leave it again, give me a second. It's going to take more to stop my voice. I am so against division. And we've had division so much here in Anchorage alone. We've got to stop. We've got to figure out a way to work together. Okay? I've seen Meg. Hi, Meg. She texted me before. She's cool, at times. She's good people. But the thing is, division is going to break us. And we have to be able to communicate in a more positive way. We have to learn to agree and disagree, right? But the thing that we have to also include is the people in the community. We're missing that fact right there. We're not giving the teachers, schools, the parents, we have to hear people out, okay? Thanks, Zach. I appreciate it.
My grandpa used to go to the borough assembly meetings, and then I would hear him give his reports on what he was hearing, what they were doing, and I've had occasion all through the years off and on to attend assembly meetings and to watch our assembly meetings on TV, and I've never seen an assembly majority like the one we have now that doesn't listen to the people. Throws good money after bad, and makes so many wasteful decisions and is building a giant homeless business. That is not good for people. And a couple of years ago, Nick Baker's the second, and David Cuddy came up with a plan, Intervention 2020. Nick Baker presented it to the assembly. They shot it down immediately because one of the elements of that plan would be when people who are homeless, when they commit crimes, that they would get a 30-day stay in jail, and then they would be able to have people go and try to help them, try to assess what they need to make something good out of their lives. And the assembly, I watched some of them recoil when that was suggested, that maybe some of them need to take a short stint in jail. And then Mayor Ronson presented his plan, and the assembly acted like they were going along with it until they compromised and they got more of what they wanted, and then they backed out. That seemed very disingenuous to me. And the navigation center that has been started on is in my area, but I don't see a better area to put it in. And it's already been started, and I think that Mayor Ronson's plan is the one that we should be going with, and not building giant homeless facilities.
21st birthday. This place was full on a Sunday. That says a lot for the community, not only of this area, but all of Anchorage. We voted in Mayor Bronson for a plan for our homelessness. I was never involved with politics and stuff. I started going to the assembly meetings with a mask mandate. I've never been so insulted by assembly members. Look at us, people like this. This is such an insult to all of us out there. So all I have to say, look at your neighbors, go out and get the vote out. The only way we can change and bring Anchorage back is to get our votes out there. We have got some amazing individuals running for assembly. Please take the time to vote out for an assembly. And put some
and I live about 900 feet from the gold mine. How do you know when your assembly person is lying to you? No? Thank you. I learned that in the summer of 2020. We found out from a news article, which you call a local blog, that they were going to purchase the Golden Lion and 3 other buildings. The next day, I had canned email responses from both of my representatives, not answering my questions and telling me that we had seen lots of misinformation. On July 1st, we had an impromptu community meeting in our neighborhood with about 75 neighbors. And that's where I'll tell you what our representatives are doing here today. Felix got up and he told us, I have to hear you, but I don't have to listen to you. That's what's happening. The only reason that this is not full steam ahead is because there's an election right now. We have to vote them out. They want to come up 5 nights of testimony, 24 hours, 80% opposition. The next night, we were locked out. They violated the Open Meetings Act and locked us out. August 11th, they voted in favor of purchasing the buildings. In December, Golden Lion was purchased. Why is there no treatment center there? Anybody know? Because no one wants to run it. They bought a building for over $9 million with no one to run it, no providers to give the services. No one wants to run it. No responses. And the only reason you know about this purchase is because the mayor called a meeting so you would know.
Good evening, everyone. You guys hear me? All right, with that being said, I appreciate you, Mayor. Thank you for this opportunity. Man, it's really nice to be able to see everyone, being able to talk and everything, get some feedback, right? So with that, my name is Elizabeth Appleby. I am the Director for Household Transformation, and so I'm more boots on the ground. I'm action planning, I don't talk, I like to do the actions, right? And so, with me is unity we stand, divided we fall. Are we all in unity? Let me hear you say yes. Unity it is, and divided we fall. That's what's going on right now. There's a lot of divisions that's going on right now, but we need to all come into an agreement. How does that work? Right? It goes by chain of commands. Any jobs that we're in, it goes by chain of commands. Just like how mayor assemblies. If the assemblies are not going to work alongside with the mayor, this is all we're going to have, division. Right? So pretty much, I believe that I repeated myself. This is my second time after a year that I was in agreement of, having that, placement over there at the Elmer. If that would have been done, it would have been already set. We wouldn't, I'm saying this is because I'm working on the floor. I've seen all these places where the people are at. The solution is not working. What is the solution? Get it on Elmer or get it on Coker. With that being said, you gotta have the people that have to concentrate the people. Because I love the people that I work with, homeless, addiction, everything. Even you guys just heard this other female that was up here. I hired her on board. But you know what? These are the people that have compassion for the people that are actually out there homeless. So now, we need to be able to go ahead and get the people.
To this day, Don Quincy is the name that's right there. And I thank him forever. So
We've only heard an increase and all kind of advocates for folks who receive mental. Starting with Centennial, where drug use just went horribly rapid through the winter, thanks to the work of Annie and the mayor's office to really not give folks free rides, really hold it accountable and really a zero tolerance of the population currently at Centennial. Substance misuse is at an all-time low. This is a very significant opportunity.
Are you talking about the Sullivan?
I am.
Okay. You said city, then you can
Yes,
say.
Sullivan.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. As the Sullivan, a lot of the folks were and so right now we have an opportunity for us. I would challenge us, I don't think it's political, but I would challenge us if this is something that won't work, let's work together if we need to find something that will work.
Hi, my name is Eric Goldrich. I'm a
local business owner. I just opened a business about a quarter mile from here. So if I'd known that this would become a homeless shelter, I certainly would probably invest in a different area. My mother also lives about 800 feet back. So, and she's been there for 48 years. So I grew up in that neighborhood, so I have a lot invested in this area myself personally. And then the school close by, my wife is a kindergarten teacher here, and she actually taught at Mountain View Elementary. I don't know if you guys remember this, but one of the things we're talking about is mental health issues, drug issues, addiction issues. Some of her students were attacked by a person with mental conditions and split up her children. And sorry, I feel really strongly about this. I remember visiting in the hospital, and I am very concerned about the safety of the children at the parks, at the schools, after seeing what happened. I just will never forget that.
Hi, my name is Tim Miss, and I seem to be representing maybe the other half that's not here today. I'm not sure. It seems like a Bronson friendly town hall, and I am not a Bronson fan. I would like a mayor and a city administration and an assembly that can work together. I have never seen it so bad, and homeless is a huge problem. We're arguing about the place. That's not the issue. The question should be, how do we get a mayor and a city assembly, a city administration and an assembly that can talk and make a plan? I also wonder, the mayor was handed a plan when he became the mayor by the former administration. What happened to that plan? What was wrong with that plan? And I don't know if Mayor Bronson has a plan. I haven't seen one other than the Navigation Center, which was a crazy idea in my opinion. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I think we need a mayor who can work with the assembly, and the assembly has to work with the mayor too. But they're at such odds right now. We can't even get it. We can't even get it.
Good evening. My name is Donna Daniels. I live over in the C Street and the Potter area, which is a little further from where the local residents are currently living. But in my neighborhood where I live, we are also dealing with break-ins, not only in the neighborhood where I'm at, but in Fox Street next to us. Fox Street seems to get hit worse than us. We're not that far from the Campbell Creek Bike Trail, where a lot of the homeless and the other disordered population seems to come in and just have fun. This is also the second time I have spoken at an event covering this very same subject. But hopefully this time, the assembly member sitting in the audience and the mayor that's standing here is hearing all of us, because an assembly member sitting in this office, when I was at the last meeting at the Denina Center, said, "Oh, we're sorry, everybody that gave testimony today, because this was not an officially recognized assembly meeting, none of your opinions count." I called horse puppy on that. I agree with the last lady. We need a mayor, an administration, and an assembly that can cooperate and get the problem fixed from the get-go. My goal is to get started getting walked into my office with the rest of my coworkers in Midtown, because we had two suspicious people in the building, one carrying a bully club and the other carrying a golf club. And we waited several hours for this building security to show up and get them out of the building so we could unlock the doors and work in a safe environment. Thank you.
Okay, and who's ever in line, that's going to be the end. We gotta do some little administrative stuff at the end here. So, Theo, I'm going to cut you off, buddy. Sorry. Yeah, we've got to get through this, and I'm doing the math at 90 seconds apiece. We're running out of time. Sorry, my friend. Go ahead, sir.
Hi,
My name is Dr. Brad Behringer. I have a business literally in the parking lot back behind here. A couple years ago, the homeless pattern of use in the city changed, and a lot more homelessness became present here in Midtown, particularly around C Street. And I definitely noticed a significant uptick around my practice in the parking lot. People defecating, trash everywhere, people sleeping in the back of the parking lot, the field here behind this building. We had people coming in my business regularly, asking to use the restroom, drinking the marijuana, using our Keurig, whatever. I'm a nice person, I'm not going to take people out, but you know, there's definitely effects, and that is child's play compared to what's going to happen if it's directly here. It will be right behind my business, behind all the businesses that are right in the parking lot here. It will be an absolute train wreck. I hire a whole bunch of female employees at my office, and they will be significantly impacted by this. It would be dangerous for them to leave my office at night. It is not going to be good. So I appreciate that we need to take care of homeless people, and we need to do that somewhere in the city. However, I think the assembly is a little disconnected with the concept of not having a home versus homeless behavior or street living, I would call it. And the problem we're dealing with is you have, I think national statistics are close to about 70% of homeless people are either mentally ill or substance abusers. And by definition, they're very resistant to treatment. And so they just continue to cause problems for themselves, for other homeless, as well as people that live in the areas where they are. And it's just going to be an absolute train wreck here. There's no way of mitigating it.
Hi, my name is Lisa Video. 52 years in the neighborhood. 52 years in Windermere. I have 3 very successful children that came through. One of them is the owner of Booth Coffee. She's had been successful for 6 years. They employ 27 young adults and high school teenagers at a place that's open 24 hours. I was a little wary. I'm becoming more wary about the traffic that they have there, the having to call dad in the middle of the night so that you can get some of the vagrants out of the parking lot, the stealing of product off of the porch, the having to have 2 or 3 employees in the building at one time just for their own safety. That is what we wanted in this neighborhood when we asked our kids to come back and be business owners and to add to the community like Willowcrest always has. So it's a big deal when our kids aren't going to want to be on the same block anymore.
My name is Nathan Hobb. I am a landlord recently, and there's only certain things that things go so far and allow certain things to happen in the building, obviously for the well-being and enjoyment of anybody else that lives there. But one thing I heard tonight that was kind of interesting, that the group, there was 3 women that in the house or something. They were very powerful speakers, all of them obviously. I think everybody here could say that they were going to be very good leaders in this topic this year for these people. And I just thought, like, if they or other groups were also, maybe this already exists and I'm not familiar with it, but if there was like a database or like information and mentorship for other people in the community, people that would be landlords, people that would, you know, just kind of befriend somebody or mentor somebody or, you know, whatever, to provide that kind of training or support for people who would like go ahead and do that. I think that would be a good partnership also. So if they were willing to like bring that, you know, make that available to the mayor or something like that, then we could, you know, look for it if it was something that we could contribute to.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jason Bergerson. My family has been a resident or a member of the community next door, Windermere, for over 50 years. I appreciate the mayor getting this meeting together, and it's good to see so many neighbors turn out. The last time we had this kind of turnout for an issue in this area was the rezoning of this land 15 years ago. AO 2008-107. Look it up, plug it into Google. This lot is supposed to have special limitations on it that don't include a low barrier shelter. There are covenants that are supposed to be written into the code. There are, what's the other term that they use? Plat notes that make buyers aware that there are special design guidelines for development on this property, that any new mixed-use development is supposed to be well-planned, integrated development that will expand the adjacent neighborhood center and have covenants that will alert future developers. I've got a lot more written, but more than anything, I want to support everybody that got up and did something that's very difficult for most of us and spoke up. I don't want this to be a political issue. We need it to be a community issue. Homelessness is not getting better. It's not really being solved. We need to talk about this stuff on the front end of the project and not find out that somebody's chasing money in Juneau without us even knowing that there's a plan. We need to find out the recommendations and the criteria associated with a project like this. You can't ask for money in Juneau for a project that doesn't exist, or you can't even define. Not even our legislators in Juneau would be that. I leave the term to your imagination. I do want to thank, I see we have some assembly members here tonight. I've been reaching out to them for a while, asking for time to discuss the issue, and have had the opportunity to be graced by their opinion.
Okay, we've got just a couple of minutes left. Just for some admin things, I think we're done with this room, but I think there's extra space out here we meet. So Felix is here, Meg is here, I think Dr. Bullock is here somewhere, I thought, and I've got a staffer, Krista, wave your hands. If you need to get a hold of my office, it's the young blonde lady back here. The housing and homeless coordinator is this young blonde lady. She's the one that from the health director runs our housing and homeless. Feel free to grab cards, feel free to leave cards. Just some points and facts that I wanted to get to. This is a talk about sheltering. Housing for homeless is a very complex thing, and that's about 3,000 people that we're actively supporting. And a lot of our public-private partnerships are doing a great job. ACH and a lot of that is doing a great job with Providence and Rasmussen. So let's, we're going to focus our attention. My focus is on shelter because that's what makes the streets safe. So and we all know this, and Meg knows this, I know this, Alexis. There's a Ninth Circuit Court decision that governs a lot of what we do. It's called Martin versus Boise. It was a decision from 2017, and it creates the envelope within which, when it comes to sheltering and street people misbehaving on the streets, you say just pick these people up and throw them in jail. Well, you can't do that because you cannot criminalize homelessness or any behavior that's closely related to homelessness. And you can't take them off the street until you create enough beds that one more bed technically than the number of people you have in your current count. So it's a complex problem, and the assembly and I, we kind of fight about the sheltering component. Remember, we agree a lot on the whole conversions. There's always a challenge. I get that. I think it's problematic. It's as problematic as this. But at the end of the day, we agree on a lot of this stuff. So I don't think we need to be beating up each other too terribly much on that. But the sheltering component is a big part of the public safety. And so, I'm going to give you some numbers here. Again, we're supporting about 3,000. Meg can give you the numbers, or Alexis. About 3,000 people overall. Some people just need a little help with rent. They need an apartment. it's a whole collage of issues. But this is a threat that's coming in the near term, and I have this phrase, I'm always worried about the alligator that's closest to the boat. The alligator that's closest to the boat is that on April 30th, we have 776 people, very problematic people, and they're gonna hit the street. Because we have a confluence of problems here. Hopefully we can mitigate it. We have the Sullivan is shutting down, that's about 500. There's 2 hotels that are shutting down. It's a problem. I'm going to work with the Assembly and I are going to work together to mitigate that as best we can. That's a bit of an apocalypse because these people are under, a lot of them are under supervision. Say at the Sullivan Arena, there's a gentleman, I think his name is Dale, right? Garrett, I've met him, and he manages a lot of people's medication. Remember, when you throw people on the street, there's no one to supervise them taking their medication. They won't take their medication, and then they become very problematic. This is a complex problem. Members of the Assembly have been working on this for a long time. I disagree in a couple of areas, but again, we agree on a lot of stuff. My focus at the next alligator that's closest to the boat is about October 1st, roughly. We go below 45 degrees temperature. I think it's measured at Merrill Field for that matter. And when it goes below that, we're compelled to have a plan for cold weather sheltering. It's the law. We have to do it. That's what's going on at the Sullivan. It has to happen. And we need a place for those people. We simply have to have a place by about October 1st. And in coming to the notion of a place, I had to disagree with the young lady that was here. The place is the thing that matters the most. I wrote an editorial piece a few weeks ago in the ADN, and it's very simplistic, but until we get the simple things agreed upon, we're not going to come to solutions. And that is, everyone needs a place. You have a place 24/7. It might be work, it might be here, it might be home in bed, but everyone has to have a place. You can't not be somewhere. And our focus has to be that the people who are living problematically on the street, they have to have a place 24/7 as well. We just have to make sure it's good, it's clean, it's warm, it's safe for them, and it's good for the taxpayer. And that's the component that we seem to forget, is the taxpayer, the citizen that's paying the bill going to work every day seems to be forgotten in all this. And they need a place, the homeless need a place that's good for us. And I think we need to focus on that a little bit more. The shelter is that component of the whole homeless matrix, and it's complicated. Trust me, it's really complicated. And we're doing a good job in some places again. But it's complicated. The shelter is really tough. And anyways, I want to make comment. Clifford is real problematic. It's remote. Now you're thinking about transportation, because you're going to help to transport these people. You have to transport the food there. Clitheroe isn't big enough. It just isn't. It's not even close to being big enough. And I don't know if the footprint is big enough to hold a building that's big enough to handle these people. So again, the hotel conversion, that works out well until it doesn't. If you want a good piece of reading, it's called. I forgot the name of the Alexis will come up with it. It talks about. There's a book. Anyways, while she's walking up here, there's another issue. The campground last summer. That was we operated that 90 days. We placed in permanent support housing 122 people. That was a good job. We brought in DMV, Bureau of Indian Affairs. We got IDs. We got 7 people moved out of the state because all they needed was an ID to get on an airplane to get out of the state. That's progress. It's a little bit. There's no big win here. You're not going to solve this all at once. No one is. I'm not. The Assembly's not. I and the Assembly together are not going to solve it. This is a win by a bunch of small additions, and we keep stacking this. And eventually we get to the win. Can you solve homelessness? No, but we can manage it so effectively that you will think it's solved, because people won't be in our parks, people won't be in our street corners, and we won't have problems in our shelters. So that's about all I got. I just want to close with that. Feel free to connect with Assembly members, and I'm telling you, they're working hard at this. But this is a tough one, and my staff, and then I think I saw there's some candidates in the back too. So anyways, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.